I have to be honest, and I'm not trying to be rude, Mr. Washington. I just don't fully understand what this is meant to convey and how it might influence some of your policies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Politibrawl. I'm Richie McGinnis, and today we have a special clip for you. This is actually Joe Biden's nominee for the administrator of the FAA, and I think you can all deem why that's now relevant. And then Senator JD Vance questions this nominee for the FAA on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I think that the answers are going to tell you a lot about where we are right now. Let's watch.
Just a threshold question here. So this is from the LA Metro Equity Platform. This is a graphic that appears, I believe, on the first page. And I understand this is something, the equity platform, you've supported over and over again in some of your public comments. I'd love for you to explain what this means.
Well, thank you for the question, Senator. Yes, we advocated and supported equity in a big way at LA Metro and every organization that I have been a part of. I think it's crucial for us to understand diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so what you're looking at is equity with everyone on a level playing field, if you will. And that is what we espoused at every organization that I've been in, especially LA Metro.
And what do these boxes represent, I guess? I mean, they're, equality here, they have different sized boxes, and then here, there are different boxes here. I'm just curious what this is supposed to mean.
Yeah. Well, that is, opportunity, if you will. Opportunity and how you position people that may be less fortunate for the same opportunities that other people might receive.
Okay, I got to say, Mr. Washington, I appreciate the attempt at an explanation there, but I don't fully understand why equality and equity are different. I would assume that equality of opportunity is something that we all believe in and agree with. Mm-hmm. I worry just in some of your public comments and some of the things that you've said, you tend to take this focus of explicitly saying that color blindness, of looking at people without regards to skin color, is somehow in and of itself discriminatory. And I was hoping to elucidate that a little bit by appeal to this chart and try to understand it a little bit better. But I have to be honest, and I'm not trying to be rude, Mr. Washington, I just don't fully understand what this is meant to convey and how it might influence some of your policies. In an effort to kind of drill down to that, I just want to ask just a few questions here, because the aviation industry is maybe the single industry where aptitude and where safety matter more than almost anything else. I mean, I can't imagine even going under the knife. I'd probably choose having a safe pilot as more important than even going under the knife for a surgery. So I just want to ask sort of how this criticism of color blindness that you've had in some remarks in your career intersect with how you think about the standards for pilots that exist in the aviation industry. So a few just very direct questions. Do you believe that white, black, and Latino airline pilots should be able to read, speak, and understand English before becoming commercial airline pilots?
Yes, I do.
Great, thank you. Do you believe white, black, and Latino airline pilots should have to hold the commercial pilot certificate and an instrument rating as they currently have to do?
Yes, I do.
Great. Do you believe that white, black, and Latino airline pilots should have to have at least 1,500 hours of total flight time in order to receive an airline transport license?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Washington. I appreciate that, and here's the reason why I ask those questions, because there is an inconsistency between some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion rhetoric on the one hand, and the fact that we should hold everybody to equal standards no matter what. I have 3 young children, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. A couple of their grandparents live in San Diego, California, so they're on a flight a couple times a year at least. I'm actually totally supportive of what you might call a Rooney Rule here. I absolutely believe that if we take, black citizens or white citizens or anybody who hasn't had the same opportunities as everybody else, it's great to make that extra effort to ensure that they have the opportunity to become commercial airline pilots or federal administrators or whatever the case may be. What I worry about is that some of our aviation industry, some of the experts and some of the ideas centered around diversity, equity, and inclusion seem to take the idea that we should relax standards in an effort to promote certain groups of certain racial or gender categories. And I just think that's a terrible, terrible way to run an airline industry. I don't really care whether the pilot that I have, what their gender is, what their skin color is. I just care about whether they can do the job. And I hope that you're committed to the same exact attitude, because if we don't have safe airline pilots and if we relax the standards in an effort to get pilots of a certain skin color or a certain gender, it's going to be disastrous, quite literally. Thank you.
All right, folks, so what then Senator Vance, now VP Vance, zeroed in on there is the difference between equity and equality. So equity would be equality of outcome, and equality would be equality of opportunity. So what equity would be, which these are the policies that were being pushed across the FAA, would be that everybody gets an equal outcome, i.e. no matter what your skill set, you get the same outcome as another individual who may be more talented or more fit for the role. Equality is when, regardless of where you came from, what your background is, you are able to have the opportunity to get the job. Now, that's based upon your qualifications. So the difference between those two might seem negligible at surface level, but it's really not. And that's what then Senator Vance really zeroed in on here, is the difference between those two is the difference between life and death when it comes to our airline pilots and the people who are controlling the flights that come in and out of our airports. And what this nominee that Joe Biden put forth is basically saying is that he's looking for equity, which is equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. And that distinction right there tells you everything you need to know about the way that the FAA was being run at the time. Now, this guy did not make it in. I actually didn't make it through the Senate. He didn't get the votes, but he was nominated by Joe Biden to be the nominee. He gave such a poor performance during a hearing like this that he didn't make it through. But this shows you everything you need to know about who the Biden administration was putting forth in critical positions of our infrastructure and of our military. And so moving forward, I think you guys should keep that in mind, of the difference between equality of outcome and equality of opportunity, because that is the distinction between equality and equity. And when you hear all these phrases getting thrown around, DEI, et cetera, I think it's really important to clarify that distinction, because people will use this word salad to kind of throw it over our heads and pull the wool over our eyes. But what Americans need to do is educate themselves on this gobbledygook language so that they can really know exactly what's being put forward in our spaces. So now that you guys have got that distinction, I think you can move forward and understand a lot more about why it is that Trump is making the decisions that he is right now, and moving forward, how exactly that's going to pan out in reassessing the way that our various administrations are run and who it is that's running them and who they're putting forward to serve these critical positions. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.